When it comes to fantastical stories, something that is necessary to make a story feel original is a power system. Of course, not all stories need power systems, and many original stories with power systems have ones that are simple and generic. However, me personally, I have found myself drawn more towards the stories with power systems that are out there, and sometimes require a degree in quantum physics to understand. A recent such system that caught my eye hails from Jujutsu Kaisen. The story of JJK is unimaginably uplifted by its power system, as it adds scale. Characters are not just differentiated by hearsay, but by visuals. Even though JJK has one of the lower-powered power systems in anime, its juxtaposition with the world building makes it seem biblical. But moreover, it helps in characterization and adds unending potential for analysis of the story and what it means. As such, I wanted to make my own power system, one intertwined with the world and lore of my very own graphic novel project, and in today's video, I will go over every detail about it, from its origins, its utility, and even beyond that. Good morning, stars, it's your boy Lava Tyrant, and this is the power system of Project IXC. When it comes to most stories, the origin of its power system sometimes is explored too late, or never explored at all. However, given IXC's story goes back to the creation of the universe, the origin is notable, and what we will start with, and it picks up right after the creation of the anomaly, as discussed last episode. Upon the creation of the universe, raw, lucid energy led to the birth of life. However, at this point, life was capable of fantastical things. Incredible power resided everywhere. Each soul was capable of different powers, but that would change. War would come. The Titanomachy. An uprising led by Morgan and his new gods against the Titans of the past. Many souls were lost, but the war ended in a way unforeseen, with the arrival of a being simply called the Overseer. His arrival changed the course of time, as he chained the powers of old and brought with him the new sleeper system that I, once again, discussed in episode 1. His arrival shifted the status quo drastically. However, even the strongest chains can sometimes be broken. This is the basic setup of the power system, and altogether it develops into 5 aspects which I will discuss in detail. The first and most important aspect of the system is, of course, lucid energy, which is the only thing that unites the other 4 aspects. It sustains the universe itself, serving as the backbone of existence as a whole. However, souls and individuals with knowledge about the soul that resides within them can also utilize lucid energy as a source of power. This is done with simple manifestation. Simple manifestation is, as the name suggests, the simplest technique in the Project IXC universe. It utilizes the renewable and powerful lucid energy of a soul and uses it to engulf any or every part of the body or soul. This can be used for simple boosts in combat or even healing and recovery. This technique can be further empowered by, or help further empower, the following 4 aspects, first of which being the sleeper system. The sleeper system was introduced by the Overseer, and brings with it 5 affinities that are assigned to each soul. Those being Nightmare, the affinity that draws from nightmares, Somnu, the one which draws from dreams, Oneros, the one that draws from daydreams, Animus, the one that draws from the senses, and finally, Lucidity, the one that draws from all the above. Each affinity draws energy from and acts as a source for their respective aspects, thus forming a cycle of sorts. As for Lucidity, it is the rarest affinity, and each species has only one. These aspects help strengthen simple manifestation to second grade manifestation, which lets the user manifest various enhancements on their soul, from weapon-like constructs to simple boosts. However, when it comes to Lucidity, they can fuse all 4 affinities to make fusion manifestation, having similar capabilities as second grade. Finally, for the sleeper system anyway, are incantation manifestations, the highest form of power a soul can display. These require special incantations which are designated by the souls themselves. These incantations are used for the following techniques. Env manifestation, allowing users to manipulate the lucid energy that surrounds them into barriers or AoE attacks. Projectile manifestation, allowing users to turn their attacks into a projectile form. And finally, the trump card, Soul Trance. Trust me, it's not domain expansions from Temu. Skilled souls can manifest trances within others to trap them in a false vision, respective to the soul's affinity. This technique requires high amount of lucid energy, and as such is rarely, if ever, used, especially because it doesn't actually hurt a soul. Instead, it only helps them get confused into being in a false scenario. That was the first aspect of the greater lucid energy power system. If you are enjoying the video so far, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of when I upload another video. Also, join the Discord to hang out. It actually has roles for each of the aspects I mentioned just now, so that's cool, right? Anyways, now let's move on to our next aspect, that being Unchained. As I mentioned before, thanks to the Overseer, each being has a chained soul, hiding within which resides a soul's true potential. Hardworking and skilled souls can thus unchain themselves and access their full potential. Unchained powers are exclusive to each soul, similar to quirks from My Hero Academia. However, they also have the neat feature of transference, a high skill ability which allows a soul to transfer their own unchained ability to another. This may lead to the abilities piling on top of one another, or being overridden entirely, and also results in the disintegration or soul death of the one who transfers, in certain situations. Notable unchained abilities in the story are Z's Agni, giving him incredible firepower, Thruma's Thunderbringer, which is self-explanatory, Area's War Maiden, Ambrose and later Eliza's Horizon White, and of course Morgan's Horizon Black. These abilities can also be used in case of second grade and incantation manifestations, excluding Soul Trance. Now let's talk about the fourth aspect of the lucid power system, that being weaponry. Weaponry is a major part of the system. Most souls will utilize weapons in combat as they are easy to use and decently strong. Weaponry come in 3 varieties. First is forged weaponry, weapons made by the god Forge for each soul. For example, Z, who notably uses the Hellhound, a custom Colt forged weapon. Second is legendary armament, weapons made in the era of the Titans by an unknown titan. These have immense power that is unmatched even by the weapons made by the god Forge. Notably, Morgan wields one of the strongest legendary armaments, the Godfellow. Finally, there is construct weaponry. This isn't actually a weapon subclass, but instead a soul technique. Souls that have wielded or come across a weapon before can create a construct based on said weapon, though these are significantly weak copies. I have plans for potentially doing an art challenge for these weapons where you can design ones that will be added in the graphic novel and help flesh out the world. So let me know if you guys might be interested in that down in the comments. Finally, of course, there is the fifth, and thus far, final aspect of the power system, that being mutation. Mutation is interesting, to say the least. Mutation occurs in the real world, but affects the soul. When a person comes in contact with the strange substance Imirium, their soul is mutated, and thus their unchained ability is mutated, often leading to physical changes, though not in all cases. Mutation is essentially a means to unchain faster, though it comes with corruption and tends to lead to the purity of the original unchained soul being lost. The soul basically goes from strong and tight chains to loose-fitting and slightly different chains. And characters that have mutations, who I'm tentatively calling mutants, but that will change in the final product, include Acrobat, the bat mutant you may have spotted in the intro, Mandamus, another major player who can be spotted in the intro, and C himself, to an extent. I won't go too into detail for the characters, because again, I'm saving their descriptions for a dedicated character video. However, with that said, of course, that was the guide to the entirety of Project IXC's Lucid Energy-based power system. I know it is a tad complex, but I like it a lot, and am open to suggestions for additions or subtractions to it as well. So let me know in the comments. If you haven't yet, check out everything else I've posted thus far about this passion project of mine. Link to its playlist will be down below, alongside those to my Fakemon projects. A region based on India called Mahagari, and a region based on pop culture called Sansamar that I'm working on with my good buddy, Gibster. With that said, I'll catch you all next time. Till then, peace.